I'm a person who in a lot of my videos I talk about taking action. And I've learned that a lot in life. If you don't take action, things are not going to happen. A lot of people get involved in business and then they wonder why the business is failing. There's a lot of reasons. I know I have failed a lot. But one of the reasons that people fail is because they sit back and do nothing. I've had it many times where people will join my system, join my team, and then they'll write to me weeks later and say, why am I not making money? You promised me. Of course, I don't make promises, so that right away I'm like, no, never promised you, never guaranteed you. I would never do that. I don't believe in doing that. However, what have you done? Well, I signed up. So where's the money? It's like, well, you can't just sign up. You actually have to work. That's what a job is, whether it's from home or in a brick-and-mortar place. So I believe in taking action, and I always try to find stories that I could tell to demonstrate that action matters, that it works. So I thought of one about an incident that happened to me, and it makes me laugh now. It didn't at the time. But one particular Saturday, I was installing carpet in a room that I rent. Or rented. I don't live there now. It's been a while. But a room that I rented. So I had to go and rent some tools. And my former friend, my former best friend, was going to help me. So we're going to the shop. I believe I finished installing the carpet. And I think I was getting the tools. So it's a rainy day, and I am stopped in the street. I'm going to be pulling left, and I'm waiting for all the cars to clear. Now, I always have my eyes looking everywhere. I always pay attention to everything. So I'm looking in the mirror, and that's when I notice that a sports car, is coming towards me, and the driver is not looking. He's got his head looking at his friend, and they're both chatting. And I'm like, looking at him like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Bam! He smashes into me. I'm like, son of a bitch! Now, my friend, of course, didn't notice anything, so he was a little like, what happened? And my truck barely moved. I mean, that's a funny thing. My truck is so big that it was just like a little bump. So he didn't even really feel it. That's actually, that's a funny part of the story. He didn't even notice anything happened. He didn't know we got hit. So then I'm watching the rearview mirror, and I'm like getting ready to go out and talk to the guy, and he starts to take off. He pulls around my truck, and he starts driving away. I immediately got out of my truck without a second thought, and I am running down the highway chasing after him. Now, my friend, which he told me later, he said he didn't know we got hit. When he saw me run out of the truck, start chasing a car, he was like, whoa, what the hell's going on here? What did he go nuts? Why is he doing that? I run up to I was actually ran fast enough where I ran up to the side of the car and was banging on the mirror, on the driver's side glass. And I'm like, pull the car over! Pull the F over! You son of a bitch, you just hit my car! Pull over! So he looked at me with a face I will never forget. It was pure terror, like, almost like that look that John Candy had in Plane, Trains, Automobiles. You know, when Steve Martin is thinking back to how John Candy stole his taxi, and he imagines that face, he's just like, that's kind of what it was. This guy was like crapped himself. And that's when he's like, oh, I'm going to pull over. Now, when the car hit, I didn't clearly see who it was. I just saw someone looking at a passenger. I thought it was a couple of punk kids. Turned out it was a guy in his probably late 60s. So, in my opinion, when I saw that, I'm like, the guy should know better. He should know better. So, he ends up getting off the road, pulling into a parking lot nearby, and then he's like, all right, we'll wait for the cops. So I call the police, and there's an officer, and this town is the town I grew up in, great town. I knew a lot of the cops, but this particular officer must have had his head up his ass because he didn't even notice the accident happen in front of him, and he takes off and leaves. And I'm like, well, there we go. So I had to call the cops, and they had to bring him back. So he comes back. Now, here's a funny story as part of the story. At this point in time, I wasn't really speaking to my father. And my father saw this all happen. He saw the accident. He saw me get out and chase the car down. he saw me put the terror into the guy and make the guy pull over into a parking lot. And he was telling my sister that, like, I wanted to help, but I didn't know if he would accept my help. But wow, I mean, he was like running after that guy down the street and everything. So I was kind of proud of that, you know. So anyways, the police came. He took both of our stories. Unfortunately, which aggravates me a little bit is the fact that they wouldn't really listen to me when I said I witnessed the whole thing. I was like, well, that's what you say, but then I'm like, no, I saw it happen in my rearview mirror. I was looking at it. So what really sucks about this, to shorten the story up, is that this guy actually got away with it. Now, his insurance company did have to pay for my truck to be fixed, so that was one thing. But the police report pretty much showed it as just being a routine accident. Didn't mention that the guy wasn't paying attention and wasn't looking at the road. Just said that he miscalculated, and that really aggravated me. And the guy was there on the scene apologizing to me, saying, "You're right, I should have been paying attention, I am sorry." His car did get damaged quite a bit. It was actually, he couldn't drive it. My truck I could just take off. It was like, a little bit of damage on the bumper and on the quarter panel. So anyways, to end this story, my whole point is, if I didn't take action, that day would have cost me a lot of money and probably caused my insurance rates to rise because I wouldn't have caught the guy. There wouldn't have been no police report to file because I wouldn't have had the guy's license plate. I'd have no proof. There were no cameras there. Nothing. I would have been screwed. I had to share this story because it's another example of when you actually do something and you don't sit back and just let things happen, you can actually accomplish something. And it works. It worked for me. Hey, thanks for watching the video. Please be sure to subscribe by clicking here. And hey, while you're at it, visit my site here for lots of cool content and yes, some free stuff. Hey, who doesn't love free stuff? I don't. Shut up.